Let's look next at Sunstein's fourth thesis, that 9/11 conspiracy theorists, being extremists, are likely to become violent with terrifying consequences. He could not be more right. The government's 9/11 conspiracy theory has been used by extremists to invade and occupy 2 countries. Everyone agrees that each invasion has resulted in over 1 million deaths, and some experts put the total death toll at 5 or more million people. This is serious violence and terrifying consequences. Think how terrifying it would be to live in a country where you could not hold a wedding or a funeral without fear that missiles from a drone would strike your party at any minute. How about extremists in the 9/11 movement? The last time I checked, the death toll from them was up to 0. Talk about living in an Orwellian world. The most important of Sunstein's Orwellian claims is that of these competing theories, it is the one promoted by members of the 9/11 Truth movement that is devoid of evidence and demonstrably false. Now, that's where my written comments had ended. And coincidentally, then, this symposium that's in the American Behavioral Scientist came to me 2 days ago, and Orwell plays a big role in this statement. And they quote his statement about people living in dark times. And he says, if you keep alive your mind during this dark time, you can keep alive the secret doctrine, 2 + 2 = 4. One of the writers says, Professor Stephen Jones found himself forced out of his tenured position for merely reminding the world that physical laws about which there is no dissent whatsoever contradict the official theory of the World Trade Center. So now I'm pleased to present to you Stephen Jones, who has kept alive in this dark time the dark secret doctrine that Newton's laws have not been revoked.
Well, that was very good. Thank you, David. I love David's writing. I've shortened my talk from a whole bunch of slides because I have another talk coming up, as some of you know, that you're welcome to come to, that Richard announced. I have a couple notes. So Richard asked me to tell you about that a little bit. I'll fit it into this a little bit then, Richard. 2 points I just would like to make. Delicious lunch. I hope I don't fall asleep here. I came from Utah this morning early, but I know Richard got a lot less sleep than I did. The one point is there are 3 sources of information that I look to. One is David Griffin's book on World Trade Center 7. I think that book is exceptional. It's just solidly written, well written, and I'll be using that more as I contact people about 9/11. And the second is Blueprint for Truth by Architects and Engineers, and great DVD. There are other DVDs out there, but that's my favorite. And the third is this paper. Some of us, scientists, look at this paper. It has a lot of pretty pictures. The Harrit, Farrer, Jones, Adol paper, active thermitic materials. And so those 3, I think, can be useful. Just my personal selection. I'm sure you have other selections that you would use to approach people. The second topic I'd like to mention briefly is this. Started with President Bush 1. Before Congress, he said, there are crises before us, but these present an opportunity for us to achieve, you remember what? A new world order. He spelled it right out. crises, and we're going to get this new world order. He said it on 9/11. Thank you. That's right. Back in 1990-something. 90 and 91. Okay, that's interesting. It was on 9/11, yeah. And then recently, it's not just the Republicans who are using that line. Kissinger said that basically the same thing. Rahm Emanuel, the same thing. You know, crisis gives us an opportunity to push things that we wouldn't think possible, but we know that this works with the American, well, with people, basically, the public, from the elite using crises. And Biden talked about real or, what was his term? Engineered, I think was the term. No, generated crisis. It can be either one. And it gets you to this end, their agenda. And, you know, what I'm getting at is whenever there's a crisis, I think we should challenge the official story. See, whenever there's a crisis. Okay. Now, just a couple examples. The currency crisis. Who was it? One of you talked about that. It seems like they're engineering a collapse of the American dollar. Carol Brulé can talk more about this than I can, but that does seem to be the case. And so, that they're talking about an international currency, right? That's their solution, which is part of this new global elite governing everything program that's obviously on their agenda. Now, global warming is a little bit sensitive. I know some people feel strongly one way or the other, but I'm just pointing out it is a crisis with an agenda. The solution seems to be some sort of global taxation and global governing body by the elite that know better than we do. See? I'm just saying it's just a crisis. Another one that you might not have thought of, that I will be addressing this next little while, is Haiti. Now, Haiti you wouldn't think of as a generated crisis. But the goal, did you know that tremendous oil reserves have been found in the bay and that area right around Port-au-Prince? Tremendous oil reserves are reported in 2008 to be larger than the oil reserves of Venezuela, which is one of the largest oil producers in the world. So, again, is this a natural or real crisis, or is it one of Biden's generated crises, you see? And that's what I'll be talking about next hour. I don't have an answer for sure on that yet, but I do want to emphasize that those of us who've awakened to 9/11, what did they build out of that crisis of 9/11? It was Iraq, Afghanistan, it's power, it's oil, as Greenspan said, right? And you can, what? Patriot Act, certainly, yeah. There's lots of things. Torture, I mean, they brought all these things in, it's like Orwellian and 1984. But the point is, every crisis, let's open our eyes, see what the official story is, and challenge it. Let's question these official stories that they associate with each crisis as it comes along. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Stephen. There's always a bigger picture. People think, oh my God, how can I handle 9/11? And they have no idea that 9/11 is the tip of the iceberg. And you're just going to yourself, I'm not going to tell him, I'm not going to tell him. And you learn more and more, and you get sicker and sicker. And then you meet people like you here in this room, and it just brings your heart open again. And you go out and you realize you're not alone, you're inspired, we're working out of a sense of unity and oneness. And that's what we have to do. That's our strength. The truth works through networks of love and connection. And I think that's how we will ultimately win, is through the truth, through love, and through unity.